But if we can see everybody, I'm a little bit too close. Sure, this movie.
See happy? Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order. It is 7:01, December 8th of 2020. Robin, would you lead the invocation?
Certainly. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to thank you for everything that you've given us. We ask that you bless the mayor, city council members, and all of our city employees as we go about doing the work of our city. Give us the discernment to make wise decisions to help our city grow and prosper. Father, we thank you for giving us this opportunity to serve our citizens and to work for the betterment of our city. May you watch over all of us and bless us and keep us safe and healthy. We ask all these things in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Somebody just jumped on.
Yep.
Okay, any announcements?
I only have one. This Saturday, December 12th at 6 p.m. We'll do Christmas in the park. Anyone and everyone's invited. It's a drive-through only. We'll have a lot of lights and some displays and things there. So we just want everyone to come out and have a good time and be safe and spend some time enjoying our beautiful park.
And I just want to say thank y'all for doing everything y'all doing out there.
Yes.
I mean, I've seen your truck up there a lot when I came by, so thank y'all.
Do we have any citizens input in there?
I do, but it's not related to the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. All right, you have to bear with me a little bit. This is gonna take a little bit of time to get through. The consent agenda, approval of minutes for August 24th of 2020, August 25th of 2020, August 26th of 2020, August 27th of 2020, meeting was canceled. August 31st of 2020 at 2:30 p.m., August 31st of 2020 at 6 p.m., September 1st of 2020, September 10th of 2020, September 15th of 2020, September 22nd of 2020, the meeting was canceled. September 28th of 2020, October 13th of 2020, October 27th of 2020, the meeting was canceled. November 17th of 2020, November 18th of 2020, November 23rd of 2020. The 6B is approved bills and those to be paid for August and September of the last fiscal year. 6C, approved bills and those to be paid for October, November 20 current fiscal year. 6D, approval of financial reports for month of August and September 20th of last fiscal year. Approval of financial reports, month of October and November of current fiscal year. 6F is court report for the month of August, September, October, and November of 2020. 6G is the police department reports for month of August, September, October, and November of 2020. 6H is public works work order report completed and outstanding for August and through November of 2020. 6I is a public works report. We don't have one, I don't believe, in this, and we won't provide that. 6J is the code enforcement report for a month of August through November, Leanne. 6K is the code enforcement report for October and November by the police department. The 6L is the Keep Tawakoni Beautiful minutes for August 20th September 17th, and October 15th of 2020. The 86M EDC minutes for August and September of 2020. We have no minutes for 6N, which is the planning and zoning. 6O is accept the resignation of Stella Travers and Judy Piles from the Keep Tawakoni Beautiful Committee. 6P is accept the recommendation from the Keep Tawakoni Beautiful Board to appoint Sheila Purvis as a new committee member. 6Q is accept EDC reappointment at EDC seat 4. Myself, Jim Turnipseed, and Pete Hoyt, seat 7. 6R is accept EDC recommendation of 2 new members to the EDC board, Larry Pareed, seat 6, and Dwayne Hall, seat 2.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda items A through R.
I second that.
Robin first and Kevin seconded. All in favor? We have unanimous.
Kevin Featherston,
Leon Meyer,
Bonnie Myers.
Chris Burkett.
I did fill in that to recognize that Rhonda McKeon is not here tonight. All others are present. Sorry about that. Okay, 7A, old business, and consider and take action on the 2019 audit, Louis Breedlove. How's they on? How you doing, Mr. Breedlove?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I think you're muted. Or my TV's muted.
Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
We can still barely hear you. Let me see on this. Maybe on the computer. Hang
Just
on.
1 second, we work out some technical issues here.
Really loud.
If I need to I can switch over to my headset instead.
Okay, there we go.
You hear me okay now?
I don't know why it's not going on the TV. There we go. Is that better?
Can you hear me all right?
Are we loud enough?
It's just not going through the TVs, it's just on the computer, so we'll just have to listen good.
Okay.
Do you need me to call in or something? Can y'all hear me okay, or?
I can hear. Can I hear?
I can hear. We may end up having some hearing problems.
I'll try to speak loud for you and hopefully stop me if y'all miss anything.
Okay.
Well, hey, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I am Louis Breedlove. I have the pleasure of working with the city and completing the 2019 audit. As you're well aware, this is, like, as you said, old business. This is 9/30/2019 financial numbers that we did audit. And we're now past the 2020 numbers, but I know that everything is in good shape, and we're on track to be able to hopefully complete it a little sooner this coming year for 2020. That said, I think you do have a copy of the audit presentation or the PowerPoint presentation that I put together for you all. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen too, in case you're able to see it there. See if I can do that. You may have to allow me to share.
Well, hang on.
Gotta love the technical world we live in, right?
Right? Now.
All right, let me give it a shot. Okay, here we go. All right, you able to see that? All right, great. Well, first, what I always like to do is I like to cover, just give you an overview of the audit process as a whole. First, the audit is completed in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. And we break the audit down into 5 phases. First, the assessment phase, where we evaluate the processes and controls that are in place and evaluate those. So we'll do walkthroughs. We determine where the controls are, where there may be potential weaknesses, and just are able to provide feedback on areas where there may be some room for improvement, or ways that may be able to make things more efficient if possible. And that also goes into our risk-based approach, which is the second phase, where once we've evaluated those processes and controls that are in place, that helps us to determine a risk. So we do what's called a risk-based approach, where the risk that's associated with each area of the audit will drive and dictate to what level and what extent and what type of procedures we need to do over each area of the audit. So that will determine the best approach for each area. We then take that approach and move into our compliance testing, where we test the compliance with laws and regulations, things like the Public Funds Investment Act or bid requirements for high dollar disbursements and things of that nature. We then move into our fieldwork phase, where we test the accuracy of the financial information. So as we're doing that, we're tying out the balance sheet. Wherever possible, we are confirming with third parties to verify that the information that we have is accurate on their end as well. And as we're doing that, we are testing the material accuracy of the revenues and expenditures in the income statement. Once we've completed all the procedures on that, we move into our conclusion or reporting phase to ensure and evaluate the testing that was performed and ensure that is appropriate and complete. And then we communicate those results to you guys. Next, the components of the audit report. So within the report are the auditor's opinion, the management's discussion and analysis, the basic financial statements, which contain your government-wide statements, your fund level statements, and the notes to the financial statements. Behind that is a required supplementary information, which contains your budget to actual for your general fund, and then your other supplementary information. Regarding the auditor's opinion, there are 4 possible opinions that we can issue as auditors. There's unmodified, qualified, disclaimed, and adverse. The city did receive an unmodified, or often referred to as a clean audit opinion, and this is the highest level of assurance that we are able to provide. Next, moving into some of the financial highlights. Citywide cash and investments, we saw a decrease there of $377,000 from the previous year, primarily using sources from grant proceeds from the previous year. Capital assets, there was a decrease of $222,000 there, primarily due to depreciation, only a 3% decrease. The net position for the citywide went from 4.3 million to 3.9 million, a decrease of 10%. And then your citywide outstanding debt stayed relatively consistent with a decrease of 27,000. Moving on to the financial highlights for governmental activities. Your total governmental fund balance had a decrease of 40,000 from 223,000 to 183,000 for 2019. While revenues were consistent with the prior year, the expenses were a little higher, which is what caused the decrease for the previous year. Looking at some of the highlights from the revenues for governmental activities, your charges for services, we saw a decrease there for 14,000. That was primarily due to a reduction in municipal court fees. Property taxes were pretty consistent, about $1,600 more from the previous year. Sales tax also consistent, as well as your franchise tax is consistent year over year. For the charges and expenses, your general government expenditures went down by $5,800. Your police expenditures were consistent, and then your public works, we saw a decrease there that's primarily due to some non-recurring street paving expenditures from the previous year. Moving on to your business type activities for your utility funds. What we look at here is how it operates as a business, and if it's operating at a profit or not, or whether it's has a deficit. Here, where you can see that on the operating revenues and expenses and net income, that it is running at a deficit. In 2019, revenue or operating expenses exceeded the operating revenues by 181,000. In 2019, the expenses were up by 159,000 from the previous year. This is primarily due to some additional professional services, personnel expenses, and this also includes depreciation expense, which is a non-cash expense. Also looking at other changes, most of the other items are relatively consistent year over year, but capital grants had a decrease by 251,000, and that's just due to being a non-reoccurring grant. Next, looking at your general fund balance, the GFOA recommends that all municipalities maintain a minimum unrestricted budgetary fund balance of no less than 2 months. That equates to 60 days or 16%. So looking at 2019, the unassigned fund balance for the year was 89,000, and it was at 11%. So a little shy from the GFOA recommendation, but it is possible to have a negative unassigned fund balance. So it's not in bad shape. General fund ended the year in a net decrease in fund balance of 27,000. Looking at your budget results for the year, the revenues fell short from the budgeted amount by 146,000. Expenses were under budget by 53,000. Your other financing sources and uses resulted in a positive budget variance of 65,000. So your overall budget resulted in a negative budget variance of just 27,000. Next, I'd like to point you to the 2 letters that accompany the report. So the first letter, it's a communication with those charged with governance, and what this does is cover our responsibility as auditors, the city's management's responsibility, and as well as that includes the journal entries from the audit as well. A couple of key points I'd like to pull out from that letter. The audit was conducted in compliance with all ethics requirements regarding independence. We had no difficulties when dealing with management, and audit adjustments were identified and corrected by management. The second letter is a communication regarding internal controls. There we would include any recommendations for internal controls. There were a few recommendations, but nothing that would be considered a material weakness identified. But a couple areas that you could implement in the future. With that, I'll open it up for any questions you might have.
Is there any place in this booklet that tells us what those controls were identified as?
I'm sorry, I just turned you up. Can you repeat that question?
The recommendations on the controls, is there any place in this booklet that explains what those were?
Not in the bound report, but in the there were 2 other letters that that you should have received, and I'd be happy to go over those with you if you don't have them handy.
believe it was page 4. I'm trying to find it. I thought I had something marked this on it because I was, well, I was good with it. It's something we have to work on here, but it's really nothing for them.
It was in-house changes that we need to make,
Right, yeah,
like
Log of all receipts and things like that.
yes, sir. And it was
That's
based,
on page 2.
was it page 2?
What was it?
On page 2, it'll show you different headings there and your findings and
Oh, yeah.
then recommendations of what to do.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was basically coding stuff, I think. There were some things that we've already talked about. I did have one question. When you were talking about the proprietary fund, I heard you say something about 181,000 difference between the operating revenue and expense.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
That's correct. So I just swapped back to that slide and I can, so this is the presentation is a summarized version of the financial statements, but you would be able to find this as well in the statements in the report.
Right.
So we're looking at just the operating side. So there's operating revenues and operating expenses. And in
Yes.
2019, operating expenses exceeded the revenues by 181,000. And let me get to that report page here, so I can.
Well, I got you now. I think what I did is I was looking at it backwards.
Okay.
Because you got 19 listed first and 18 listed second.
Right. Yes.
That was just something on my part. I'm kind of used to seeing it.
The other way around. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I just caught it. When you said that, I looked at it, so I'm good.
Okay.
When you said it, I was looking at the screen from here, but when I put my glasses on and looked at my paper, I seen it, so.
Okay.
But no, you're good.
Any other questions about the report or any of the recommendations or?
Not from me. I mean, I think it seems to be a pretty good report to me.
I agree.
I appreciate you guys taking care of it. Just
Absolutely.
Hopefully next time we can get it done a little sooner.
Let me ask you one question.
I know that the city is utilizing a third party to complete the year end for 2019, and which is based on the feedback I got from them, and it seems like that's the best thing for the city. And assuming that the city were to move forward with that and have the third party do it again for 2020, as soon as they're able to complete it, then we can start getting moving on the 2020 audit.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
If there were any appropriations of funds, would you catch that?
We would say that the financials are materially stated. We didn't identify any misappropriation of funds. We do look for those types of things. We can't say that we would find every instance of potentially there being misappropriation of funds, but we do test it pretty heavily, and we didn't identify any.
And if you did find some, how would you handle that?
We would bring it to council's attention and management's attention immediately, and we would determine how the total dollar amount that we're looking at, the potential, because sometimes you might find one transaction that is a misappropriation, and it may be not that much, but it could be just the tip of the iceberg, and you might identify more. So we just, depending on the situation, we will do further testing to identify the full extent of it, and then just bring it to your attention. And depending on what it is, it may be a matter of correcting it in the financials. So it maybe recognizing something as a loss in case there were, dollars were stolen or something was stolen. But so it just really depends on what it is, but it's definitely addressed immediately and brought to management and council's attention immediately.
Thank you.
Yeah. not a problem. And just after this meeting, if there's, if you think of any other questions you might have that slipped your mind during this council meeting, then my contact information is on that last slide of the presentation. So feel free to reach out to me with any questions you might have, whether it's related to this audit report specifically or something more in general.
Ms. Freeman, we appreciate your time and your effort and the good job that you did on the audit.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure working with the city.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you. I got one more question, not for you. But it says here in the payroll that we were missing some personnel files.
Yes, we were missing an I-9,
I know.
and it was on Susan Roberts, and it had probably been pulled from the previous year and not put back in the file, and I could not find it.
So, yeah, maybe corrected that.
That,
I-9 is immigration, natural relations. Yeah.
proof of identification.
Yeah.
Yes, two forms of information. I had the 2 forms of information, but I did not have the I-9 itself.
Okay. Good, that's good though. Okay, 7B is considering or take action on hiring a city attorney.
No, we need
Oh,
we
yeah.
need to take action on this.
I want to make a,
Oh, I'm sorry,
I want to make a
Yeah,
motion
go ahead.
to approve the 7A, consider and take action on 2019 audit.
I'll second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Kevin Featherston,
Leon Meyer. Chris Burkett.
Motion passed. 7B is consider and or take action on hiring a city attorney. Any discussion on that?
I think we need to. Yes, we need to.
You've had time to look at the resume, the packets that you've received in the past.
yes, sir.
Looking for a recommendation.
I'm gonna make a recommendation that we bring Jim McElroy back as our city attorney after looking at everything and I mean, it not only makes financial sense to me, it also makes sense since he knows our city, somewhat. So that's my recommendation.
Well, there'd be a learning curve there with a new attorney. And with not having an administrator, I'm bringing a new one in, we need that he already knows everything up here. I think he's our best candidate for this city at this time. And he's gonna give us a big discount.
No, I don't know about that.
He is alive. He is alive. $1.298, right, Jim?
That's exactly right.
Ma'am, if we were to bring you back, when can you start?
Well, given the fact that I've been working most of the month for the city of West Tawakoni, I think I'd start immediately.
Yes, sir.
I've got dockets scheduled for municipal court 2 days next week already on my calendar. So I figure I'll be right in the middle of it.
Okay, the chair would entertain a
I make a motion that we bring Jim McElroy back as our city attorney.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Kevin Featherston.
Leon Meyer. Chris Burkett.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Welcome back,
Jared.
welcome back.
Glad to have you, man.
Thank you.
Okay, 7C, consider and or take action on resolution number 375-12-8-2020, approving the sale of the West of Tawakoni Police Department canine police dog to the city of Commerce. Chair would entertain any discussion or motion.
I'll make a motion that we It's a hard one, but we gotta do what's best for her, what's best for the city. If we go ahead and sell Scarlett to the city of Commerce.
I second that.
All in favor?
Kevin Featherston,
Leon Meyer,
On mine.
Chris Burkett.
7D, which is consider and take action on resolution 376-12-8-2020, approving a form of agreement for the position of chief of police and authorizing the mayor to execute the same on behalf of the city. I'm gonna move that to the end of new business after 8A and exercise our right to adjourn to executive session. Any discussion on that?
I like that. I like that.
I agree with that.
Everybody in favor of that?
Yes.
Okay, then let us skip on to, Brandon Kilpatrick, 7E, Police Department Computer Presentation.
Council, we have the packet that I gave you last week, I believe. You have that?
Yes, sir.
So, did anybody get a chance to look at this over the weekend? Okay. So as I addressed before, when I gave that little information to you during the announcements, we've entered a situation where we're down to one computer in our police car. And we're going to need to do so. Well, we actually have two. One of them is just about, the screen's just about gone on it. It's broken on the back side, like I explained before, on this part right here. So it's just about fixing to lose its screen. I have a feeling that it's probably going to last maybe to the end of January. And after that, it's probably going to be where it's not working, which will leave us at one computer for 4 police officers. And when I mean computer, I'm talking about the mobile data terminal that's inside the police car, not the computer that's at the station. So unfortunately, CoLogic, who's formerly CopSync, has gotten out of the computer business. They're not building computers anymore at all. The computers that GTAC normally has are supposed to be obsolete next year. So we will be back in the same boat we're in right now by not being able to service them. This is the newer technology that everybody is moving to. It's a tablet. It has a dock station. If you turn to, this is kind of out of order a little bit, okay? So if you turn to page 3, you'll see a color photo of what it actually looks like. It looks like this if you don't have page 3.
Yeah.
So that's what it actually looks like. The computer, it actually detaches where the officer is able to take it out and actually use it for photographing. If need be, they can actually take pictures of it. On crime scene, they can take pictures of a motor vehicle accident, and they're going to have the capability to upload that to the reports.
So your current units do not allow you to take photos?
No, they don't.
How are you doing that with your cell phone?
Cameras, we did use we did use cell phones. We're transferring to one phone now for the police department. So there's only one phone that the officers will carry on duty. Every officer doesn't have a PD phone anymore.
Okay.
So they're going to have they also have the capability, from what I'm understanding, is that we're going to be doing the Zoom trial for a while. So they're going to have the ability to be able to go to court with that unit itself. And I think that's something that's probably going to stay around for a while. It's going to be compatible with our ticket writers. We will not have to get new JR 3040 printers. We already have that. I'm sorry. We already have that in our police cars, the thermal imaging printers. So that's something we're not going to need. These computers will completely be compatible with it. If you turn to the page that looks like this right here, it's the bigger picture of it. So what you see there is you actually see the keyboard itself and the tablet that attaches to the keyboard. But the other piece right there is the dock station. And the dock station is what goes in the police car itself that bolts, bolts to the actual mount. It has a fan on it, so it keeps the computer cool too. These computers will withstand 140-degree temperature. And it will actually attach to that, and there's a locking device on it. So in order for them to get, and we have to have that locking device on there because that's a part of CGIS compliant. And CGIS is the part of DPS that comes in and audits us every 2 years. And they're the ones that set the guidelines on what the officer can do on the computer inside the vehicle. We're not pulling a criminal history. We don't have a criminal history terminal. Therefore, we're only viewing driver's license history inside the police car. And there's requirements that the officers have to do. This is one requirement. It has to be locked into that data station. We're not supposed to do it. They can remove the computer out, but they have to take it out into the police department. Service on these computers. There's going to be 2 types of services on them. The first one is the company that provides this, which is Peacemaker. These guys actually are CoLogic certified. So we're going to have 2 outlets to be able to use. And we have to call them periodically for tech support because sometimes your printer will lose connection with your computer. It just happens. If CoLogic doesn't update and they don't install the printer driver in it, we have to call back and reinstall the printer driver. We have another outlet for computer tech support with these guys right here. Our other person that will work on this is Chuck Witt. It goes back to the CGIS. My tech support person I can only use one tech support person on a computer. So I can't take it and run it to a company up the road somewhere that does tech support on computers because of the sensitive criminal or the actual sensitive data from DPS that's on these computers. So Chuck has to come in every 2 years and get fingerprinted. We have to physically take the actual unit to him and pick it up from him. He has to sign for it and sign back it out. So he also will provide tech support on this with Peacemaker themselves. Now, what's kind of neat about these terminals is they have a little technology on here. In some ways, this computer is a hypoallergenic computer, Doc. So if the officers were to have a virus of some type, the plastic on it itself is supposed to resist that from multiple people using it. So that's kind of an exciting thing. I don't really know if it's going to work or not. I won't be able to tell you until something happens, but hopefully we all stay safe and we're not sick. We're real excited. This is the same software, not the same software, the same type of computer DPS runs in their units. So if you turn to the back page about the, does anybody have any questions about the terminals?
I know if DPS don't use it for a camera though.
I've seen a couple get out and take pictures with them. And
Most of them just carry their little camera with them.
Is it the last page?
There's actually 3 different. Well, I'm going to move over into the financial part of it if you have any questions about the terminals.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
You said you're gonna have one cell phone for the police
Yes,
department,
sir.
and they're gonna, each officer, when they come on duty, they're gonna carry it with them.
Yes, sir.
Why can't they have one computer and carry that with them?
Because you have situations where you have multiple officers on it multiple times, and you have situations where if I have a computer and I'm working on something, there's a lot of times I work on my computer at home too. And you have, when you take a computer and you put it in a car and an officer logs onto it, you're going to have to switch every printer out with it. So when an officer takes that computer, he's going to have to take his printer with him. Because what happens is if she's a police officer, if Leanne's a police officer and she takes the computer and she uses my printer, the printer drivers are not going to be stored under her name. Does that make sense?
No, why wouldn't it be stored under?
That's just how the software is. That's just how the software is. So she'd have to take her printer with her to hook up to that computer.
And there's no other software that's capable of that we could look at? Because
Yeah, for about $150,000.
You couldn't, we're talking about one computer. You couldn't put everybody, all the officers,
yeah.
printer drivers on that one computer.
Yeah,
They've never tried it.
First time for everything.
so if her printer goes down, she can't even take her computer to any other printer we got and print something off of it.
No, I'm talking about citations. I'm only talking about tickets.
Yeah,
The RJ 3040 printer. If she takes my computer and she doesn't have her printer, sorry to use you, but if she doesn't have her printer, then the drivers, you have to have the drivers installed on it.
Again, no bigger than we are. You ought to be able to go get in any one of them police cars with that computer and move from that car to that car and not have that kind of problem. We're too small to have that kind of problem. I mean,
That's just how the system is.
Well, maybe we need
It's
to
all-
do everything.
yeah.
I need money. Y'all understand how much you're talking about to look at a new
You need
computer
money
system?
just to get that.
Right, but we're talking $3,000 a year versus $50,000 for a new software. But regardless, if you get one computer, you're still gonna have to put the dock stations in the cars. You're still gonna have to have those dock stations for these computers. You can't change out a dock station. You have a police officer out there with nuts and bolts undoing it to put it in the car and time it back down.
So,
yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
But the dock stations are the same, they, from one car to the other car.
you can move a computer from one dock station to another dock station?
You can do that.
Okay.
But you're gonna have a problem if she has to reinstall printer drivers. We did this before. This is why we bought the third computer when we only had two. Because every time we were turning around, we were having to reinstall drivers on the computers.
Again, that's some kind of technical problem that's gotta be.
I mean, you can come to one and select it.
Oh,
Or have everybody on, you're not, we're just, for practical sake, we're just talking one computer and 4 printers.
yeah,
You think you'd be able to
no, 3, because we have one good computer.
Oh, well, okay, but we're just talking for sensible reasons, we're just talking one computer, you know, 4 officers or whatever, so you would think it would be able to have all 4 of them on the set up on each computer. Everybody be able to use whatever computer's available and then be able to print from that. I mean, it is a little odd that we wouldn't, you'd have to have a different printer driver for each officer, right?
You have to, yes, so when she logs on to CopSync, okay, her network and her display and her dashboard is different from it is mine.
Mhm.
Okay, so what happens is that when she logs onto it, if her printer drivers are not installed on that computer, she's not going to be able to print citations from that.
Yeah, but this day and age, I think what everybody's saying is you can have 10 printers on a laptop, on that laptop right there. You can have 10 printer drivers on it and be able to use all 1 or all 10 of those printer drivers. And select which printer, just like we do in the office here, we select which printer we want it to go to, correct?
If you want me to go out and look at another computer software, I will.
Well, no, I'm not talking about computer software. I mean, it's printer drivers is what it is.
How do these printers sync up? Are they Bluetooth?
They're Bluetooth.
So they're
Oh, they
Bluetooth.
are. And we're,
But, so I want to make sure I understand correctly, because I've just been trying to listen to make sure I'm understanding and letting everybody ask questions. So the example you gave was if, for instance, if Leanne was taking her computer and going out to this car, she would, or I'm sorry, if Leanne was going to go get in that car and she didn't have her computer, she'd have to make sure she took her printer,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So my question is whenever you get in your car with your computer and your printer and you go to write a citation and you go to print a citation, what do you have to do? When you go to print, do you have to select the printer? Do you have to say, I want to print to
It's already selected under my login.
under your login on CopSync?
Yes.
So
The drivers are stored in that computer under my login.
okay. And do you have other printers on that computer, like for the office or such? I mean, if you bring that computer into the office, or you say you work at home with it, I mean, if you're gonna print something, are you able to still print something otherwise? I would think, I mean.
No, that's why we have CopSync on our desktops. The only function that computer does, the only thing that computer prints is a citation, a criminal trespass, or a consent to search.
well, what good would it do? What benefit would it be to, you use an example of taking it home to work on it there? What benefit would that be?
If I'm
Can't
using
print
it
anything.
to approve reports, if I'm finishing up on
Okay,
reports.
catch up reports, I get
Oh,
that.
okay, without,
I get that.
without using.
Okay, so I think I'm understanding this correctly, and I think what you're saying, and from what you just told me, made me understand a little bit better. So what we have to understand is this is hypersensitive information
Right.
that this computer is able to log into. And so I think I'm getting the gist of the reason why it wouldn't be like at my office or whoever's office and there's 20 friggin' printers on there, because how many times has anybody in here, when you're working in the office, you print something and you're sitting there going, where's that? And you print it and somebody comes up and goes, hey, Kevin, did you print all this crap back there? I think that's what we're getting at, okay?
Yeah.
Because, so for instance, if you had 4 printers on there and they're Bluetooth, they're not linked in, they're not plugged in. So they're Bluetooth printers. Well, the issue would be is if we had 4 police cars parked out here and they're all fired up and you were able to print from this computer to that printer and that 4th police car over there. Well, if this person over here is printing and they don't go in there and they select printer number 1, which is their printer, and it was already pre-selected to printer number 4, it's going to print car number 4 over there, which they're printing hypersensitive information going to somewhere it shouldn't be.
Here's another ticket writing, but you just said,
It's just ticket writing, but you have to
No, that's
understand,
just
it's got
one-
people's personal information on
but
it.
you just said that it's linked to your login.
Right, and I was,
Log in the computer, it sets up the printer. Okay,
Well-
can she not log into your computer under her login?
that's what I was gonna get to. Don't get hung up on the printer aspect of it, okay? Because the officers are more active than I am on the street.
That's all I heard that was our major issue was the printers.
Well, the officers are more active than I am on the street. They take the majority of the reports.
Yeah.
Okay, so when my data is stored on that computer, okay? If you have 4 officers on one computer, obviously one of our police officers that are on the street does more activity than I do. They take more reports. So when he logs in, every bit of what he does is now dumped onto that computer. So you're gonna run into a memory issue.
Oh, that's right, it saves it.
Exactly, because it auto saves. Because what the officer does out here, it saves in the air and it goes to Austin and stores in the offsite server. When that officer comes in and logs on to his desktop in here, okay, everything that he does in that car flashes on there. It transfers back and forth. It goes from point A to point B.
It's in the cloud. So
It's in the
you
cloud,
shouldn't run into a memory space thing.
No, well, it's not in the cloud. It runs through the internet service and stores in the server and it comes back to us. So when that officer logs on to his computer, everything that he does is now in that computer. So you got 4 officers running on one computer, or 3 officers running on one computer.
How much memory do these computers have?
16 gigs of RAM.
A whole lot, really.
It's not really.
It's not a whole lot at all.
Not with today's technology.
It's not made, the mobile computer in a car is not made to be a desktop.
And it's not made to keep all that stuff on it. It goes to the server in Austin.
Does
So
serve
it-
us.
You're not really thinking that everything that officer does stays there because it doesn't.
Right.
So you're not really running into the memory space there. But at only 16, you're gonna run out.
Another issue that can come up if we have a security breach. If we have a security breach on one of the computers, like we did about 2 years ago, that computer's out of service until it's cleared by Chuck Witt. So if you run into a situation where, and our officers, they don't get on the internet and surf the internet on these mobile data or these terminals in their cars. Because the firewall's different from what it is here. Okay, we're using Windows Essential on that too, like we are over here, but the firewall's different. So they're not allowed to surf the internet on these. They can't get on, we don't even want them checking their mail unless it's unless they're on the city server, which is our Microsoft, which is our secure internet. So if we have a security breach, I have to report that security breach to DPS. That computer goes out of service. Last time we had that done, I think we got it back 3 weeks later, once it was cleared out. If we get a virus, the computer's done. It has to be sent out, it has to be fixed, it has to be wiped, it has to be brought back to us.
How many are you looking at trying to get?
We need 3 of them.
Before we move over to I think you're about to get into the financials before the questions started coming. Let's go to worst case scenario. What happens if all 3, you got one good one now. Let's say they all go down tomorrow.
You start handwriting citations again, and it slows down your court process.
And what?
You start handwriting citations, slows down your court process. You have officers that are not doing their reports in the field. They're coming back to the police department and having to input their reports.
Now, when you say report, would that be traffic reports or
That'd be
traffic
any-
tickets
that'd be
or
traffic,
any
anything.
kind of call?
Any type of call.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happens is when an officer goes on call and he has to do a report, he does a report from inside his vehicle because that's his office. He has the terminal, he has his computer and the capability to do that report inside a car. If we go back to that, there's no point having a computer in the car. Then we just have to come back to there's no point having a CopSync network if we're not gonna have mobile data terminal.
Your monthly officer activity report, and I think that this is, it looks like it's like 4 months. You've got it listed by officer ID, the badge number, name, the count, and the percent of the total. Is that traffic tickets, and is that all calls, whether it be traffic or an emergency call, whatever it might be? Or,
I don't know what form you're looking at.
it's the monthly officer activity report.
I don't get the court report anymore.
Well, this didn't come from the court.
Yeah, that's from the court.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I don't track that number anymore.
Oh,
That's what it's on that.
That's how many citations were written in.
okay, these are just citations.
just
This is,
citations.
Yeah, that's not called. Now, they're,
well, I guess I was looking for the,
Now, his summary that he gives.
oh, here it is, right
yeah,
here.
it's in here,
Okay,
right here.
the calls for service,
Yeah.
okay. And that's just not broken down by
It's not by officer.
officer.
Figure by month.
I'm just trying to think of a worst case scenario is what I'm trying to do. Okay. So this total on your police report, calls for service. That's everything, including the incident reports, offense reports, arrest report, cases submitted to DA, and the county attorney, and then the district attorney, vehicle accidents, and narcotics arrest.
No, the calls for service are just calls for service.
Yeah.
So that's a police officer gets a call and he goes to the call, and when he gets there, he does a call sheet.
Okay.
Well, what he does when he enters that information in that computer, it stores that data. So we know inside that system, when that officer hits history, he knows what we've been out there on before. When he types in an address, it gives him, it compiles a list of everything we've been out there for.
Okay.
Okay, whether it's a disturbance, whether it's a fight in progress, a missing child, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
So it compiles that data. They do a call sheet on every call that they go on, whether it's an agency assist, whether it's in the city, outside the city, whatever they do. If somebody dispatches a police, if we go help the fire department, there's an agency assist.
Where's that data stored?
It's stored in the CopSync system.
So you'd actually be linking up, so it wouldn't actually be on the computer, it would be in CopSync systems, it'd be like a cloud kind of?
I don't know if it's a cloud or not.
Okay.
It's it's probably.
A database or
Does
something.
it take a long time for that to download, come up on your computer?
And also what it does too, also what the network does is it helps me pinpoint high crime areas in the city.
Right.
Because I have everything split up into districts. We have district 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I look at my administrative side of it, if I'm seeing a big trend of calls and reports that we're taking in District 1, then obviously we need to start focusing more effort over in District 1 if we're having if we're having a high influx of crime in that area.
Okay.
It helps me compile cases and move cases and link cases together with suspects because it picks up on trends. The system goes in, and if I'm working a burglary and I have a suspect on a burglary and Quinlan's got the same suspect on a burglary too.
Yeah.
When I run his information, it's gonna show me a cop sync history, and I can access that and look at what Quinlan's working on the same guy and put things together.
How
Whether it's
old
a
is,
suspect or a victim.
how old is your oldest computer and how new is your newest computer?
My newest computer is 2.5 years old, and my oldest computer is 12.
Okay, what, you got four, right? You got one that's 2.5 years old?
We have 4, and we have 2 that are down because of the video cards on the computers. And we have the one that's in my car right now is the only full functioning GTAC computer we have working.
Okay, does that one, can you use that one in any car? Like, you know, we're talking about they're using a printer and the printer driver. We've already discussed that, but can you use that particular good one in any other cars and use the printer that's in the car already? Like, you know, we were talking about switching the computers and we've already been through all this.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can do that, but you're gonna run into a problem. You have officers that are on shift at the same time.
No, I understand that. I'm just seeing the difference between.
It
you know,
creates a logistical issue.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I was just curious.
I think he's just saying is that computer there, will it go to all the printers and work?
If the officer's printer drivers are installed in that computer.
Okay.
That's the same thing.
But that doesn't mean, and see, what happened is when we had 2 computers and 3 officers, we would end up in a situation where the officer would get in and he would log onto the system and he would take off down the road and he would stop somebody on a traffic stop. He'd go to issue a citation and a printer would. So then he has to burn that stop, that's probably a citation that he thought he should have wrote, but he didn't because he couldn't. And then he calls CopSync back I got to quit using cops. I was just saying CoLogic. He calls CoLogic back, and the problem we ran into is we had too many printer drivers installed on one computer. And so what the computer was doing is the computer was dumping one of them. Okay. And then when we realized that was going on, I went to Susan. I said, we got a problem. She goes, what's the problem? So I explained it to her. I said, we're having a problem because we have too many printer drivers on one computer and it's dumping one of them.
So 4 of them was too many?
4 of them was too many. Well, 3 of them was too many on one computer.
Oh.
So that's when we bought that third GTAC computer.
Oh, okay.
And then we knew we were going to run into an issue with it. So when we bought one of our chargers, we went ahead and bought a new GTAC computer with it. But we had to replace one because they get old after a certain amount of time. And then we ended up buying 2 of them. And then one of them took a dump, and the one of them that was 12 years old took a dump. And then one of them ended up breaking right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but it's now making the screen go.
Yeah.
You're starting to see the pixels, and the problem with our other 2 cars, our other 2 computers, is you boot up one of them and you see the pixels in the screen, and then it goes dead. And the other one doesn't even come on. And it comes on, we hear it come on. The Microsoft prompt alert comes on, but there's nothing on the screen. Because the technology now they use on some laptops, and I'm not a computer guru, I'm not. But evidently the technology they're using now is they're not putting a separate video card on them. It's now attached to the motherboard on the computer.
I want to kind of switch gears here a little bit out the computer part. And I see in here, it's a 3-year no fault accident warranty. What does that cover?
That covers everything on the computer. So if the officer leaves it on top of the car and he takes off and it flips off and breaks and he gets run over, then it's replaced.
Everything?
Yeah, it's replaced.
Okay.
If something happens to it, if the screen gets broke on it or it's damaged in any way, they replace it free.
Oh, they do.
Yes. Not the printers,
Right.
because we have the printers.
Okay.
When I was talking to him about the printers, I said, well, we're gonna give you the RJ4030 printers. I don't need those. I already have. I'm not gonna spend $800 for a printer because that's how much the printers are.
How long does a computer of this type, especially in a police officer situation, how long is it before they become obsolete? You know, you hear cell phones,
So
you know,
you
within a few generations, they're already obsolete.
No, when you buy it. When you buy any computer, it's obsolete tomorrow.
Right.
That's
Okay.
the truth of the matter.
And what you look for is you look for when you buy a computer, like for instance, if we went out right now and we bought HP computers, went to Walmart and bought
Right.
$400 HP computers, CopSync's not gonna serve that. CoLogic is not gonna provide us tech support in those. And I'm not saying there's something bad about them, is that their system is not compatible with the HP computer.
Right.
Isn't there,
I'll have to turn on.
the constables in Dallas County, they have little printers that are just little mobile things, and they can write tickets from those.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, PDFs or,
Yeah, it's a little handheld device that has the information on it.
Like a little credit
And they
card
sign it,
machine.
yeah. Those are nice.
Yeah, what do they call?
About $4,000. Just a housing. for-
PDAs, I think that's what they call them.
Yeah, just, I have a plastic housing that we got, when we set up one of our cars, they sent us a computer and CoLogic come out here, they installed it all. And about a week later, I got this little black plastic housing case in the mail. And then we got a bill for it for $800. And I thought, what in the world is this? Well, it was a dot, it was a secured holder for the RJ4030 printer. So I called them back and I said, hey, we don't need this. Because my guys, they get a coat hanger and, put it in a little screw hole and put it to just hanging on the back of their cage, and it stays there just fine. And they can reach up there and pull their ticket, pull the citation off. So this is something I don't need. So how do I send this back? Well, I didn't get a phone call for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I called them back again. So what do I need to send this back to y'all? They said, just keep it. We're not going to charge you for it. The point of it is that the little stuff, when you're dealing with these police cars, when you're dealing with stuff like this stuff's expensive.
Sure.
It is. It is just, I can't imagine a little piece of plastic that you put a printer into to keep it from moving around in the car is $800.
It's a locked-in market. I mean,
It is. It's a locked-in market. Every agency in Hunt County, small agency, is on this network right here. So we talk to other departments. We call for assistance. Your officer assistance button for emergency help, because we're not on an 800 radio system here, not a digital system, so they don't have that capability on the radio like I did when I worked in Collin County, where they hit a button, it pinpoints your GPS location and sends you assistance right then. Your officer assistance button is on these computers, and it has a 10-minute time delay. So if your officer's on a traffic stop out there when there's nobody here, when he's by himself working like they normally are, and something happens to him, if he doesn't go back and click something on that computer in 10 minutes, it sends an alert through CopSync. It sends an instant message, a red screen message to any officer within a 5-mile radius of him. And it also sets the bells and whistles off in Hunt County that the officer needs assistance. If he's ever incapacitated or he's almost incapacitated, he's having to crawl back to his police car. The only thing he may be able to do if he can't talk is reach in there and hit that red button.
So that's all the software, that's not. the
Yeah, that's part of the
computer.
software.
That's not the computer.
yeah, I mean, we're getting the software with it. That's part of
Yeah,
it.
we paid
We already have the
$5,000.
software.
We paid $30-something thousand for the software when we bought it.
Yeah.
12 years ago.
We already have the software, it's just a matter of upgrading our computers.
Yeah.
And validating that these computers are what we need to go with right now. Correct?
Correct.
What homework have we done there? What is somebody compatible, East Tawakoni using?
East Tawakoni is still using the GPAC computers. No, I take that back. They have tablets in their car. Quinlan has the tablets in their car too, but they have a few GPACs.
Same brand tablets?
I don't know if it's the same brand.
I think East Tawakoni still got some G-Techs.
They do. They got a few, but there are 2 new Tahoes they have tablets in them. They have a tablet with a flip down keyboard.
And what is the difference in that price? Have we went out and priced them, or are we just locked into this because we
We're not
know
locked into
this is, I mean, not locked in, I mean, mentally locked in because we know this works.
This is what CoLogic sent me to when I called them and said, hey, I'm having problems with my GTAC computers. What do I do to get tech support on these or service them? Do I need to mail them to you, or what do I need to do? We're not going to service them. We can't. They're SC400 computers. We don't service those no more. We got out of the computer business. We refer you to this company right here. And so this is the first one that I looked at.
Okay.
I could go back and get you more quotes if you wanted. I mean,
I think we've already been through the financial part, have we not? No,
Yeah,
not tonight, but we've
we
been.
kind of went through it the other night with the payment, there's a payment plan for what?
Right.
360501 per year, that's total, right?
and at the end of that, you can pay them $1 and keep your equipment.
Okay.
Or you can
Well,
renew it.
I was just
and
trying to
renew
say,
it.
I was just trying to, for the sake of time or whatever, because we've already been through that. And this isn't a take action item, so
Right.
in the interest of time.
No, it's just a presentation.
Yeah, no, I understand. So does anybody have any more questions or can we move on?
I know.
I'm good.
Robin? Chris?
Well, I do have one thing. I think, Brandon, it would be a good idea for us to try to see what other options are out there.
Yeah, I just need some direction, guys, on what y'all want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that obviously CopSync is who we're gonna do all of our stuff with. There's gotta be another brand or somebody else out there that these people will support, or somebody has some kind of technical support. So, I mean, I would say, just like if it was something you were doing for yourself, I mean, I think you do. I think I know you that well, that when you look at something, you're like, okay, well, let me look at this one and look at this one. I'll make my decision between at least the two.
Shopping for TV.
What I didn't like about this, and I hate replacing equipment that's not broken,
Yeah.
because you know as well as I do, every year we scrape the bottom of the barrel. And what I don't, the only option I don't like about these is that I gotta replace the dock stations in the cars.
So see what our other options are, and then, I mean, we obviously gotta make a decision. But
Yeah.
The only other option I have, and I still can't find it, is I have to find a computer that will match up to this right here,
yeah,
to be able to go set into the dock station for the computer to charge.
Or the other computer would have to get at the new docking stations if
Yeah.
you went another route.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. We appreciate it, Brandon.
Thank you.
So do y'all want me to bring you back more quotes? How many do you want?
Whatever you can give us, I think everybody would want to see what else.
Whatever.
Normally what we do is get 3.
yeah, I think.
And don't bring them if you wouldn't want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get out there and it's not.
I'm not gonna bring something over to track.
Yeah, right.
I think.
But I think what we're gonna run into is it's gonna be more expensive than this.
No, because it's just.
It very well may be. It very well may be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. All right, we're gonna move on to 8A. Discussion and take action to approve ordinance number 289-12-8-2020, amending the city of West Tawakoni Code of Ordinances by changing the beginning time of the regular monthly meeting and repealing all other ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict herewith. Does everybody understand that? What we're wanting to do is, right now, we've got a regularly scheduled meeting every month on the second Tuesday of the month at 7:00. And we're talking about moving, we have to do this in order to officially move the time to 6:30 so that it is a regularly month scheduled meeting.
I have a problem with that. The city, since it's been incorporated or has always done it at 7:00. It's on every web page. You can find anything about the city on that. The meetings are on Tuesday night, the second Tuesday of each month at 7:00. Most of the people here, if they're working, they're not working here. They're working in Dallas or somewhere. And it's not fair to the citizens to not let them get home in time to come to a meeting if they want to show up for a meeting. And I know this COVID thing is not gonna last forever, so.
Yeah, well, most of the ones that we've been having over the last, for quite a while, I mean, we haven't had many regularly scheduled meetings in months. It's because we, had a lot of all our workshops, everything that we've been doing for the last several months, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but we've been having them at 6:30 then, have we not?
I'm just talking about this, what we're talking about.
And usually all of your scheduled meeting or your special meetings have either been 6 or 6:30. And it seems like everybody's been good with that.
It's hard for me to get it. I left after 5:00 today.
Yeah.
And Also, I'm also a diabetic, medical problems, and I have to eat before I come to these meetings.
Right.
You know, last meeting I was back there eating a cheesecake out of the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Because my sugar was crashing.
Yeah.
And I barely got home in time tonight to get a little something to eat before we came up here.
Well, I mean, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of some of the reason, Leon, this was looked at was we're trying to look out more for our city workers is where this idea came from originally is, you know, if we start a meeting at 7 o'clock, and if it becomes a 2-hour meeting, right? And with it being a Zoom meeting, and I know it's not gonna last forever, but I can promise you that the Zoom thing is gonna last forever.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, it's gonna last forever. And the only reason why I say that is because I watched it happen in business. So the Zoom thing is gonna last forever. The citizens, they are going to expect this to be broadcasted to YouTube from now on.
Yes.
So where this comes into is whenever we start our meeting at 7 o'clock, and it's, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but whenever we start our meeting at 7 o'clock and we have our staff here at 7 o'clock and we have a meeting that lasts 2 hours, which is where this one's gonna be for sure, then they're here until 10 o'clock at a minimum, uploading all this stuff as it has to be uploaded before they can leave. Because if they don't upload it, and you know, we haven't done a test yet, but we've talked about a test, is trying to start the upload and leave. But if we come back the next morning and something happened, we are in definite trouble because we did not do what we're supposed to do by law. So all we're trying to do is try, the change is being made for really and truly no other reason than try to do a little something different for our staff. Because, I mean, heck, man, they get here and just like you, but at the end of the day, you know, we all knew we were signing up for, but just we're trying to make that change for that because it does, once we leave here, they're still here because they have to upload this stuff to the web.
And upload it tomorrow morning.
It's against the law. It's got to be uploaded immediately.
What time, if we get there at 9, you'll get there at 10, right?
Or later. It
Last time
depends.
it was 10:30 when they.
Yeah, it was almost 10:30.
They
So
leave
you're
at
just talking about the regular council meeting, you're not talking about special sessions, we can do those at different.
Yeah.
We can schedule a special session at 3:30.
Like tomorrow, we're
Yeah.
doing that one, I will tell you,
It's at 3:15.
I have other obligations during the day, I have members of different organizations too, so sometimes daytime are not gonna
Yeah,
work for me either.
this is just for the
Right, this is
regular
regular
monthly
schedule, right.
Tuesday, first
Okay.
Tuesday of the month
Right.
meeting. And it
Gotcha.
doesn't
Right.
affect any executive or
Right.
special session that we may have in between those meetings, monthly
Right.
meetings.
So we didn't have that problem before we started this Zoom stuff, right?
Right.
But I can promise you that's never gonna go away.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to-
the world as we know it has changed.
There's no law says you have to do it. is
Jim,
there? Hey, lawyer, wake up.
Is he, have
He's
you got it?
muted.
No,
There.
he's got his cell.
I had myself
Hey.
muted. Yes. Right now, there's technically not a law that says you have to, but we really, physically, we're required to. We can't have more than 10 people in that council chamber. And so if we're going to be open to the public for an open meeting, we have to do it per the governor's order through remote, allowing people to appear at that meeting remotely. So yeah, I mean, right now, are we required to? No, but we don't have a football stadium to hold meetings in. We can't socially distance in a manner that actually, I'm not sure that would meet the requirements of the governor's order, but we can't socially distance in a manner I think that would comply with the order. So am I on the big screen?
yes, sir.
Oh, that's cool. Leanne, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You're on camera.
I was going to compliment her anyway, because this is the best sound I've ever had at one of these Zoom meetings. I can hear everything that's said tonight. And usually I'm straining to hear about half what's said.
We only do this for you, Jim.
Okay, okay. Well, it works really good. It works really, really well. You know, so right now, yes, Leon, we are required to do it, I think, by law. And so, yeah, but here's the thing. I'm like Kevin, I don't think this is going to go away. I think you're going to see some law changes in the next session that may authorize this going forward. Because it gives, for instance, Leon, like you say, you get trapped at work over in Dallas next year, you could attend this meeting by Zoom without having to fight traffic all the way over here, if you chose to, you know, and that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people, especially people like you who commute long distances to go to work, to come home, to have that flexibility to be able to fulfill your statutory duties. And have the flexibility to not have to drive every single time you do it. So I think we're going to see that in the future. I think that's one of the new normals that we're going to experience because of this pandemic.
Yes. Our lives are forever changed, not just here, but in many other aspects. The way we conduct business.
Mm-hmm. I'm doing municipal court for a city entirely by Zoom right now. Where you get a ticket, I set up a Zoom meeting with you and you come to me by Zoom. You don't come to the courthouse.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
A lot safer that way.
Yeah.
Well, is there any other discussion? Any questions, comments? Anything from anyone?
The only thing I'm gonna say is we didn't have a time on here.
No, and I think that was intentional, was it not?
There's a time on this resolution.
On the ordinance side.
Oh, the resolution.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
This side, right here.
Now, this is an ordinance and you know, Leon mentioned he thought there might be some pushback. You're going to have to read this twice before it becomes law. So if you adopt it tonight and you get some pushback, at least you'll know what the reaction was in the community.
Right.
You'll have to come back to the council for a second reading before it becomes an adopted ordinance.
And I think it's on the schedule for tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, it's on. Did you hear that, Jim?
I heard that. Well, then they're going to have to get their comments in quick. But or the alternative is you could table it tomorrow and move it to January, but that's up to you.
Okay. Fair enough. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I don't have any.
Chair, entertain a motion. Again, this is the first reading.
I'll make a motion that we approve 8A for approving the ordinance of 289-12-8-2020, amending the City of West Tawakoni's code ordinance by changing the beginning time of the regular monthly council meeting.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Kevin Featherston?
Chris Burkett.
So we've got three and one. Is that right? Huh? Well, any opposed? All opposed?
Leon Myers.
3 for and 1 against. Motion passed. Now we're gonna go back to 7D. Consider and or take action on the resolution 376-12-8-2020, approving a form of agreement for the position of chief of police and authorizing the mayor to execute same on behalf of the city. We need to go into, yeah, okay.
Okay. So do you adjourn all this or how does
Yeah,
that
we need
work
to
for y'all?
adjourn out of this.
Yeah, well, then,
So we're gonna go ahead and adjourn the regular session and we'll open up.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, you have a second?
Kevin Featherston,
Leon Meyer.
Kevin seconded. I mean, Lee.
Chris seconded it.
Chris second.
Chris, okay, well, it's both at the same time, it's like the stereo.
We good?
All done.